Hello everyone and welcome back to this video where we are going to deep dive a little bit more into the analytics process and how different brands or agencies play a different role and face different challenges uh, throughout the analytics process, right? So overall, if I were to just give you a quick overview, the analytics process today is divided into five different stages of the project, right? So if you are new to Google Analytics 4, generally you need to be aware of this. That you will start with planning, then you will implement certain codes on your website, then you will validate your events once the data is captured, and then you will start reporting, start generating reports, or even go to the next level like generating insights from it, right? So five different stages of data in analytics, and at every stage we will see that uh, the expertise is missing. Sometimes it results into recurring cost, sometimes it's a manual process that takes time, and sometimes usability becomes a problem, and on some occasions, repeatedly generating insights is also a bigger challenge for you, right? So let me quickly go to the process and help you understand how the general process looks like, right? Very useful if you're an agency or if you are a brand. This is what you typically face when you start or when you embark on a Google Analytics for project, right? So step number one is the measurement planning. uh, Measurement planning is all about understanding about your website, your current setup, and your current setup on Google Analytics 4, Google Tag Manager, what is being tracked right now and what is not being tracked, what can be reutilized, what cannot be reutilized. Do you need to improve your setup, or do you need to really set everything up from scratch, right? So planning is an important stage. It also involves a lot of decision making, right? And when I work with my clients, what I do is I give them full capability and understanding of the concepts, and guide you to make the right decisions, right? So for example, I will not blindly tell you to use server side tagging. If your clients or if you yourself have not enough spends running on your campaigns, you don't need server side tagging, right? Server side tagging definitely has its own benefit. It reduces your marketing costs by 5 to 10% overall. So definitely we would recommend server side tagging, but server side tagging is not free, right? You need a server, you need a complex setup, and definitely when you work with server side tagging, you need XYZ expert help to set it up and to even maintain it. So overall, I think there are pros and cons of everything that you do, right? How do you structure your analytics? So again, structuring your analytics might have implications. Structuring your data might have implications, and if you have multiple domains where user is going through the journeys, like subdomains, cross domains, uh, there needs to be a lot of thought that needs to go into measurement planning, and it's not generally very straightforward because uh, that is why the experts, GA4 experts, actually exist, right? Even complex scenarios like web views, or if you have an app that you want to track, it is going to be pretty challenging to understand how app tracking works versus web tracking. Completely different tools, completely different things to track, right? Installs versus first opens, and again, app really has deep links and those very complex concepts which requires a lot of planning beforehand to understand what data is required, how the data is going to be used, and what techniques you are going to use to capture those data points, right? So measurement planning very important, uh, and I would recommend to work with an expert GA4 person or an agency, or you could also work with measurement experts who has at least 3 to 4 years of experience. Is must to even work on the planning phase. right? Then once the planning is started, the expert or even you can start going through the different data points that you want to capture. uh, all those codes will be, all those events will be converted into step number two, which is called data layer code preparation, right? So it needs to be a code that can be implemented, right? So to implement code, definitely you will look at the client's technology. Like if the app is built on Android Kotlin, you will provide Kotlin codes to the end customers or their development teams, and they will deploy the tagging codes on their mobile app, right? If it is JavaScript, you will use plain JavaScript. If they have iOS, you might probably lean into using Swift. Or if they are on any other technology, you might consider using a JSON file, and then converting those JSON into write codes depending on the technology, right? So that's number two. Once you have those codes with you, step number three is to also set up GA4 and Google Tag Manager, which is like setting up tags, triggers, variables into Google Tag Manager, and making it ready to capture the events which are fired from your website. And then also GA4 needs to be configured to receive those data points, right? If you're passing an event, let's say an add to cart event with certain parameters, those parameters needs to be created into Google Analytics 4 as well. So all that comes under the setup phase. Primarily, setup phase is easy for someone who already knows Google Analytics 4, but might be a little tricky to go through and again set up these for someone who is new to GA4, right? So if you need any help, just feel free to reach out to us. Uh, then everything goes into technical implementations. You have prepared codes, you set up GA4, GTM. Uh, Technical team is ready to deploy the code. Boom, they implement the code on actual website or application, which starts collecting your data. You also start seeing the data at this point, right? So step number four is where you start seeing your data into Google Analytics 4. It might be correct, might not be correct, right? So that is why uh, after the technical implementation, we have step number five, which is validating and fix, right? So you will ultimately, before using any data points, you need to ensure that this data point has been correct, right, or is being passed correctly, right? Sometimes you might have felt, or if you are new to Google Analytics, or you will also feel that some data points are a bit off, off in the sense that sometimes you see that checkout events are higher in number than add to cart, right? So people added to cart like 5 times, but checked out, the cart probably 10 times, which is not possible, right? If you have product views, 100 product views, but 1,000 purchases, which is simply not possible. So a very simple brain or an analysis will tell you that certain data points are incorrect, right? Sometimes you can easily see like this, but sometimes there are many detailed investigations that needs to be done, like multiple firing of events. Like if page is being counted twice, right, how are you going to validate those things? So validating and fixes is where GA4 expert, GTM experts use debuggers, previews, GTM preview, and primarily fix the broken tagging and make sure that the data is accurate. And number six is, once everything is corrected, you start logging the user interaction sessions and events. You will start monitoring your data, right? That data is being captured correctly. If at any point in time, if data is not being captured, you might want to get an alert that, hey, something went wrong, the data tags were removed and tracking has stopped, right? So you need certain sort of monitoring on top of the data being captured. And if not monitoring, you just need to log into your like GA4 dashboard every day and just see everything is working fine, right? Because I have seen some days where things stop working and everything goes haywire. Uh, Post that, right, once you are done with step number 6, you will go into report generation, right? So most importantly, once the data starts coming, the stakeholder requests also start coming, that they want to understand what is the success rate of onboarding journeys, or what is the breakup of mobile versus desktop, right? Or what is the conversion rate on Android versus iOS. So there are many questions. Everybody has many questions that needs answering. So you will likely generate a lot of reports that will answer those queries, and you will, for some requirements like senior management, they want to see the dashboards every day, every week, every month, right? So for them, you will also prepare a lot of dashboards. That's more of a life of a GA4 expert that goes into building dashboards and reports, right? Once you have the data, I think it's also very important to understand that your measurement, planning, and reports tie together, right? If you don't understand your planning, you will not likely be able to generate the right reports. So report generation is not very complex, but you need to have underlying knowledge of your planning. uh, Once you have the plan, I think there will be some detailed questions coming in, like exploring the data points, and there will be some follow-up questions on your reports, that hey, if Android conversion rate is lower, right? What is it that is making Android conversion lower, right? And uh, primarily, it will ultimately, uh, people will start asking different questions to you, overall, in terms of uh, follow-up questions like, hey, if the drop-off rate is 30%, can I know, like, where did these people go? Are they going to any other screen? What kind of challenge they face? Did they face any errors? And that will lead to more tracking, right? If they want to understand how errors are being tagged, or how errors are made on the screen of the user, you will ultimately land into uh, more tracking, and the loop continues, right? And there is no right way of satisfying those questions. But yeah, I think once in a while there will be lots of such questions which will require your inputs as a data analyst or GA4 expert. Step number 9 is the ultimate step, where you start generating insights, extraction of insights, and identifying trends or what is going wrong. All these questions will lead to number 9. And if you are lucky, you will definitely find lots of insights. And if you follow through all these, right, step up to step number 9, you will be able to find performance gaps in your website, or even understand anomalies, or why certain things are like that, right? Some of those things you will just need to accept, but for some others, you will try different ideas to improve your UX, improve your marketing campaigns, or even optimize your website for improving your conversions, right? So that's where you will take some decisions, that hey, I want to implement these, and I want to see if it makes changes to conversion rate, right? And yeah, definitely, it's a very long process. Sometimes clients I've seen complete it like within a month, within a week. Sometimes it also, depending on the availability of different teams, it might go until like 6 months, up to 6 months as well, right? But never fear. I think the data is very valuable thing to do, and this is how the analytics is done today. What we are aiming to do is to unlock your GFO superpowers, and your GFO superpowers make this 10-step journey very easy. So starting with understanding about your current setup, we have GA4 audit module. For planning your events, we use AI to identify events, and have lots of templates in measurement planner module. Uh, Tracking and setup automates your GA4 and GTM tagging, completely creating your text, figures, variables on auto mode, and just making smaller changes to go live very quickly. AI based alerts monitors your data and it alerts you whenever there is a drop in your data points. It is going to definitely alert you. And then there is scheduled reports, so you can export all your data points into different other tools where you actually work, like Figma, Slack, WhatsApp, email, or Excel or Google Sheets. Um, if as a end user of data, if you don't know how to work with GA4, you can also use Google Analytics for Copilot, which makes your life easier. And ultimately, we also have an insights module which can help you generate right insights from BigQuery, like building funnels, or it could be about building uh, customer conversion journeys, customer exit paths where customers exited from your website. And then there is one more on RFM segmentation. There is one more on campaign explorations, and then attribution, and again understanding the user timing insights as well, like at what time people complete the purchase or what time do they add to cart. So different things, different modules. And you can see this overall diagram in which we explain how everything comes together when working with Measuremate. You will see that every party, like marketers, designers, developers, analytics team, or even data stakeholders, and marketers and product managers, come together to work on your data project so that it is easier to coordinate, but not importantly easier to coordinate, but when these parties come together, they have their own tools, like designer has Figma, developers might want a Jira tickets, or analytics team works on GA4, Google Tag Manager, marketers, product managers are also working on BigQuery, some of them. So all these tools come together uh, and integrate with Measuremate to make it more powerful. And this is a diagram where we explain step by step that how the requirements are gathered in the first planning phase, how they are implemented with developers, how the validations take place, uh, how the implementation phase goes through, and then the configuration setup phase of GA4 and Google Tag Manager is taken care, and how the reports are generated, sent to different tools via Measuremate to data and stakeholders, and then how these stakeholders can also utilize Copilot to understand data tracking from GA4, right? And then ultimately leading everything to insights, making more time for insights, which is our end goal, generating insights automatically from your BigQuery data, making it easier for your marketer or a product manager to find the right data points. And definitely welcome to the island of insights, and we hope you have a safe and great GA4 journey. Thank you so much.